For many new and focused photographers, the math and science part of all this throws them. Focal lengths, aperture choices, angles of view, tonal balance, white balance options, lens choices, compression rates, and so on. It's easy to see why people become so frustrated with it all. But if you take your time and give each its due, then I promise the pieces will eventually begin to fit together. So let's start off bare bones. First, what's a lens and why do they come in different sizes? A lens is anything that transmits and refracts light, that focuses or diffuses it. The distance it takes for a lens to focus that light on a surface is called its focal length. A lens is defined by its focal length. For instance, a 50 millimeter lens would need about 50 millimeters, it's 2 inches, to focus light on your sensor. A 200 millimeter lens would need about 8 inches to do the same, while a 500 millimeter lens would need nearly 1.5 feet to keep things in focus. This readily explains why some lenses are much longer than others. The optics, of course, can come to our rescue and shorten some of those lenses. We call these telephoto lenses. And engineering plays a part as well in the construction of lenses that can switch or glide between focal lengths. We call these zoom lenses. The focal length of your lens determines its available angle of view, or how much you're able to see when you look through it. A shorter focal length lens, for instance, such as an 18 millimeter, lets you see more of what's in front of you, while longer focal length lenses, such as a 200 millimeter lens, lets you crop into a scene very tightly. A 50 millimeter lens, however, is kind of an in-between lens. It gives us a view of the world that really mimics how we see things naturally. We call 50 millimeter lenses normal lenses since they give us images that appear normal. Shorter than normal lenses, such as a 24 millimeter, 18, or even smaller, we call these wide-angle lenses since they offer us a wider angle of view. And, if you haven't guessed it by now, lenses with focal lengths greater than 50 millimeters are called long lenses, since they reach out and crop in on things that are a long way away. Throughout our courses, Robin and I are often asked which lenses new students should buy. We often recommend having at least one lens from each of these 3 types: a normal, a wide angle, and a long lens. Now notice I didn't say zoom, and I did not say one lens that can be all 3. Hey, believe it or not, the whole reason you own an SLR is so that you can change focal length while using various apertures. This means having and carrying more than one lens. Photography is about options. Being a photographer is about wanting to have these options. If you don't want this, if you just want one lens that covers everything, then why in the world did you get an SLR in the first place? A point and shoot would have easily sufficed. I guess if I were going to be specific though, about one particular lens I think is vital, it would have to be a 50 millimeter 1.4. It not only comes with that outrageous speed and blur options that a 1.4 offers, but it also gives you that normal angle of view that so many people crave. As far as I'm concerned, no camera bag should ever be without one. And as an in-focus photographer, you'll also need a wide angle and a long lens. And you will want to get the ones with the largest holes that you can afford. Hey, common sense though should prevail. Only you know your finances and only you know how far you really want to take all this. Just remember though, when it comes to lens prices, you get what you pay for. And there really is a real reason why some lenses are drastically less expensive than others. For now, my advice is really simple. Get to know the lenses you already have. Know their focal lengths. Know their angles of view. Know how large and how small the apertures can go. Where the minimum focal distance is. And if you don't have a 50 millimeter lens, for goodness sakes, get one. You'll never regret the decision.